talk today is on the three pillars of Zen. These are our really basic, comfortable supports for our Zen practice. Many of you have heard the term the three pillars of Zen, which is a famous book that came out in the 60s, which kind of was a major piece that introduced Zen practice, formal Zen practice to the West. And actually Maizumi Roshi kind of had a play on that, where he, I don't know if he actually misunderstood them when he heard them, but he called them the three pillars of Zen. And I'll share something about that. But I want to start by mentioning what the theme for our Ango is going to be, our seasonal practice period coming up. It's going to be appreciating your life. Appreciating your life. So as many of you know, I'm kind of taking that teaching from Maizumi Roshi, who's used that as kind of his main mantra, you could say, was appreciate your life. He came back over and over to that, and it's what they chose to title his book, probably his best book of teachings. It's called Appreciate Your Life. This word appreciate is, it's very rich. It's got a lot to it. And what does it mean to appreciate something? We really, what I hear in it is to witness deeply, to accept, to embrace even, to really appreciate, to be sensitized to at a very subtle level, a nuanced level, not just checking the box off, oh yeah, got it. No, really feeling, the texture and the presence of a being or an object. Yeah. It isn't so much judgmental, right? You can appreciate a meal that you hate. You can appreciate a person that you have a lot of problems with. Yeah. So this is good. This is good. We need to be able to accept and take in and not rest at just that level of judgment with the phenomena and beings in our lives. And there's also this quality of appreciation, right? When something increases in value. Appreciates. There's a saying, what we appreciate appreciates. Appreciates. It actually grows. It feels, you could say, our attention. There's a livingness to our awareness, to our consciousness, which becomes generative when we engage with ourselves or with the world with appreciation. So can we appreciate our life in that way? What are we appreciating our life as? And we'll get into a lot of the different flavors and forms of appreciation over the course of our Ango. But here are some introductory notes about it. What are we appreciating our life as? You could ask, it's a nice question. Well, right at the beginning, Maizumi Roshi says we're appreciating our life as no other than the treasury of the true Dharma I and the subtle mind of Nirvana. Those are some big words. The treasury of the true Dharma I and the subtle mind of Nirvana. So we've all heard the word Nirvana, right? What are your associations with the word Nirvana? We all have associations. Anybody have any they want to throw out?
Peace.
What's that?
Peace.
Peace. Okay, peace. Yeah, what else? Awakening. Awakened. Okay. It's definitely good, right? It's something we want. Right? Anybody have any negative connotations to Nirvana? No. What's that?
Team
What?
spirit.
Team spirit? Yeah. I knew somebody was going to say that. All right. It's the musician who comes through. Thank you. Spirit? Yeah. Anything else? Nirvana.
Maybe it's a little boring.
Boring? Nirvana is boring? Okay. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Paradise, right? Liberation, maybe. Well, whatever our idea of it is, actually, it isn't it. Because it's really boundless. But we do have to use words. Yeah. So the expression that resonates for me is experiencing our life that we're living as an infinite, literally limitless life. Limitless. Nirvana as being limitless. We don't usually experience our life this way, as being limitless. We experience it as being very limited, and we find ourselves really focusing on the limitations. We each are the Buddha, the awakened one, awakening itself. But those are words and concepts too, and we can be limited by our words and concepts. So what are our concepts about Buddha? Anybody have any bad ones towards Buddha? Anybody have any good ones? Awakened one, right? Awakening. Peace, maybe. Right? Yes.
Wise. Wise.
Wise. Okay, wise. Yeah. So these are some qualities, and these are true, and valid qualities that we are. But it's more than that. Actually, it's more than that, and it's less than that. It's limitless. Buddha points to our natures that both exist and don't exist. It's the limitless quality of nirvana, which is beyond life, beyond death, beyond this body, beyond this moment. It's that beingness, you could say, in which all time and space is right here, right now. So that's what we're appreciating, is our life as this. It's not quite like our normative consciousness, where we're independent beings with our own psyches and personalities and bodies and lives. Yeah, those are all true. That relative dimension, of course, is true. But this limitless quality is also true right now for all of us. This limitless, to me, it speaks of liberation, from our mental shackles, our ideas about ourselves, freedom, breadth, power, reach. These are qualities that resonate for me. As I understand and experience Buddha nature, the nirvana that's present right here, right now. So we'll be appreciating our lives as this. So how about the 3 pillows? Yeah. So these are supports in our practice in order to appreciate who we are, our true nature. You could say they're the basics, the basic support. I've got a bunch of quotes from this book, which come from, this is a compilation of Maezumi Roshi's Teishos, or Dharma talks. And I just find so many of his expressions to be so resonant that I'll have several in the next few minutes through this talk. By the way, for those who are new, Maezumi Roshi was the founder of the Zen Center of Los Angeles. He's one of the really seminal generation of Japanese teachers who brought formal Zen practice from Japan over to this country. He founded the Zen Center of Los Angeles, and he had 12 successors who now have successors of their own, and so he's the kind of the head, the progenitor of a big network of teachers, about 200 teachers all over the world now, of which I'm one. I'm in his lineage. So I was a resident at the Zen Center of Los Angeles early in my practice, and took Jukai, the Buddhist vows, with Maezumi Roshi before becoming a student of one of his senior successors, and then receiving transmission from him. So I'm very close spiritually with Maezumi Roshi, who's my Dharma grandfather. I feel very close to him in his expression. So Maezumi said, it seems to me that pillars or pillows, it doesn't make much difference what word you use. In order to sleep comfortably, you need these 3 pillows. Otherwise, you have nightmares. So it actually spoke to me, this part, about our practice, right? He's kind of saying, listen, don't make this a masochistic process. Make practice, make this a comfortable, actually. Find comfort, find something sustainable in this practice. It's essential. Pillows. Okay. So what are the 3 pillows? They are samadhi, forgetting the self, and actualization. Many of you who have, probably long known the term, the 3 pillars of Zen, might not actually know what those pillars are. But this is Maezumi Roshi's explication of what these important basics are. Of course, there's a lot of 3s in Buddhism and in Zen, so you could say that there's multiple pillars or pillows or sets of 3 pillars or pillars. But I'm gonna focus on these today. Samadhi, forgetting the self, and actualization. Okay, so I want to appreciate these pillows. Samadhi is concentration, right? There's multiple dimensions of appreciating actually samadhi. So I'm gonna focus on this concentration. Okay. And Maezumi says, raising samadhi power is always gradual. No one can do it overnight. Okay, so here's an important point. Samadhi is the energy of concentration, of the concentrated energy of awareness or of consciousness. Okay, and it's almost like a technical dimension of our practice, because it's something that when we do zazen, we do meditation, we're actually cultivating this quality of the mind. And you can't fake this. You really have to cultivate it. Now, I've talked with, in certain contexts in this group, but actually more in my coaching work. And Brendan's been, we've been working together for a number of months, so he's heard this many times, but this progression from consistency, continuity, concentration, and co-creation. Okay, this process. In order to develop samadhi, that concentration, you need to establish a practice that is repetitive, that is consistent. Okay? It's laying down those train tracks so that the train of your consciousness can move smoothly and quickly down that track. But you need that foundation. And we get that through repetitive practices. Over and over, whether it's following the breath, counting the breath, picking the weeds, sweeping the ground, over and over. Okay? Consistency. And then it's day to day, to day to day, to week to week to week, returning, returning, returning. Okay? Now we're laying the groundwork with that consistency. But from that consistency arises this continuity of attention, that continuity of mind. I talked about continuous practice in my talk 3 weeks ago, I think it was, 4 weeks ago maybe. Continuous practice, the mind of continuous practice. So as you lay down the formal practice of consistent sitting, walking, whatever it may be, that continuous mind wakes up and stays awake, no matter what you're doing. So you start to be able to tap back in to that mind when you're off the cushion or when you're doing something else. Okay, it starts to glimmer awake more and more continuously. Okay, now we get to the samadhi, the concentration. With those two things having been established, and they will say, the first step, these take less and less effort. The first step takes the most effort. That's where the not so much effortless effort happens, but more the efforting effort is happening in order to get yourself onto the cushion over and over again. It doesn't feel so effortless. But as we develop the continuity and the concentration, then it starts to become an effortless effort. It becomes easeful. The concentration, the samadhi, builds on itself. We enter into this state of coexisting alertness and relaxation, pleasure, sensitivity, openness. Yeah, which builds on itself. Okay, so samadhi, concentration. Another quality of concentration that Mazumi talks about, evenness, steadiness. If our mind is even, if our mind is open, then we can accept everything that happens in the same way. We are not attached to one thing over another. You have a feeling, sense that arise in you at all when you can enter that quality of just, okay, taking everything just as it is. I'm not going to get pulled around by my preferences, by my aversions. Okay, you be a jerk. Oh, that's really wonderful. I really like all that money, but I'm not going to go chasing after it. There's a limitlessness, a freedom, steadiness, samadhi. And the third quality of samadhi is properly recognizing, perceiving externals, properly perceiving externals. Mazumi says, by emptying yourself, by forgetting yourself, by forgetting your thoughts and concepts about those things you perceive as externals. In other words, have the proper relationship with externals. Yeah, I like this phrase, have the proper relationship with externals. You know, it's, seems to be true. It's true of me. that it takes practice to have a proper relationship with externals. I am habituated and conditioned to have a more of a controlling, manipulative, preferential, and judgmental relationship with externals. Is that proper? You know, it's all propriety aside, it just certainly causes suffering and gets in the way. It isn't proper because it's not about propriety, it's about being with reality. Okay. So really recognizing we tend to be separating ourselves from externals. That's sort of a precondition, you know, to all of this judgment that we impose. All right? If we really saw another person as being us, you know, truly, you know, not separate from us, would all that judgment, you know, how much power would all that judgment have, right? Does one hand judge the other hand? Yeah, does one finger judge the other finger? So this samadhi, you know, it's this concentrated quality of awareness which does perceive externals properly. Yeah. So I want to emphasize just how we can really feel samadhi. You know, it's not an idea, it's not a notion, it's not, in some cases, it's not even subtle. This is kind of cool. It is the subtle mind of nirvana we're talking about, but anyone who's done an extended period of sitting, you feel the samadhi. You feel it after half a day, you feel it after a day, you feel it more after 3 days, you feel it more after 7 days. Anyone who's done a 7-day retreat, it's amazing. It's really amazing. The whole mind is shit. The whole body and mind, because it's a physical feeling as well. The whole experience of your own body and mind is radically transformed with these qualities of concentration, evenness, and this connected and appropriate relationship with externals. Okay, that's the first pillar, samadhi. I'm going to talk less about the other pillars. So I encourage everyone to practice this practice, which does work to cultivate this quality of concentration. Okay, the second pillar is forgetting the self. Okay, I think I've got like four pieces from my Zumi Rishi. I think I'll just start reading and see what happens. How does forgetting oneself happen? By raising samadhi. There are many different states of samadhi, many different levels of concentration, but one such experience or state isn't a big thing. Right? Don't make a big thing about it. Dogen Zenji says it is like sticking your head into a gateway. Why is it so special to become aware of one's own life? Isn't it rather extraordinary that we don't realize who we are? Okay. So this actually speaks to how valuable continuous practice is, and committing yourself to a practice that allows you to maintain this place of samadhi. You don't go for the state of samadhi and then, oh my God, that's it, woo! And then you drop back down, and, you know, it's like, oh, it's all about that. You know, well, it's who you are right now. So find that quality, you know, we want to find that quality in everyday life, in ordinary life. After I did my first 3-day, 2-day, maybe it might have just been a weekend. I think it was a weekend session. My first weekend session, I just felt so real, like so alive. I felt so alive after that 2-day. I said, this is it. This is not like this is it. I understand everything. It's like, this is the life I want to live. This is the experience I want to have more and more in my life. I felt real. I felt alive. I felt I was seeing things more clearly. Things that seemed cobwebs in my mind. I mean, things that were like big problems and big ideas and big moods. Just felt like cobwebs. I just saw them as, oh, no, there's no obstacle there. My knees were killing me. It was so painful. But I like went through this pain. By the end, I was just like, oh, okay, that's just pain. So it's there to go through that gateway, go through that gateway and experience this and be this. Yeah. This life is ungraspable. Why is it ungraspable? Well, because it's limitless. We talked about that, nirvana, this limitlessness. That's why it's ungraspable. How can you grasp something that's that big? Right? We just can't. It's like you can't swallow the ocean. You can't breathe in the sky. You can't contain this life at all. We can understand this intellectually up to a point, but how can we fully experience this unlimited boundlessness? Well, by forgetting the self. Instead of going out and trying to grasp everything and understand everything and connect with everything. That's not how we do it. We go inside and we work with the structures of the self. And we study them until they fall away. And then that graspingness itself exhausts itself. That's how we stop grasping. We exhaust the graspingness of the self. Simply forget the self, Maizumi Roshi says. That's the second pillow. Simply forget the self. Yeah, so this part's important, and I've quoted this before in my talks. How do we appreciate the ungraspable? By being it. By being the whole complete being, manifesting as it is. Everything is here right now. Nirvana is right here, but somehow we ignore that fact and we start doing something else or looking for something else. All these expectations are unnecessary. There's no need to look for any further accomplishment or attainment. When you really grasp this fact, joy is just joy, pain is just pain, but in the midst of pain and joy, there is no pain and there is no joy. In the midst of thinking, there is no thinking. In the midst of the self, there is no self. This is the fundamental wisdom of Zazen. So, be what you are. Appreciate your life and then be what you are. When you are. As you are. Maybe it's helpful to, like you can almost talk to yourself and say, I'm confused, or I'm tired, or I'm angry. And then you can say, oh, Gyodo is confused. Gyodo is tired. Gyodo was angry. Yeah, because, you know, I mean, I'm not just Gyodo. So just be it. Just be what you are, when you are, as you are. Then the third pillow, is actualization. When you forget the self, you are liberated and confirmed by all things. This is the realization of the oneness of life. And then you extend this realization into our daily life and make our life the realized life. So mere sitting isn't enough. You have to reveal this wisdom in the way that you live. And we do that by sharing it together with each other. How do we live this enlightened life? How do we actualize this enlightened life? Right? We share our lives with everybody. That's why a Sangha is so wonderful. Because we all would like to live an enlightened life. We'd like to actualize our own selves as the limitless beings that we are. So it's nice to practice with others who are exhausting themselves in the same way that we are. See, this practice is one of exhaustion. That's where the samadhi actually comes in. I'll go back to the first pillow. That energy of concentration comes in. It actually is what allows us to exhaust ourselves. Because without that exhaustion, we can panic, right? It leads to this emotional, existential threat that we feel when we're getting really, really tired. And I think our survival mechanisms kick in when we're, say, letting go of our when we're losing physical energy, number one, but also when we're losing our kind of ego defenses, we can actually be scary. It can be a scary process. And then defense mechanisms and stuff come in that case. But it's that energy of samadhi, it's that quality of evenness and openness and presence and concentration that allows us to feel that, oh, I'm not nothing, there's something here. And actually something here. So there's a quality of faith, there's a quality of comfort. This is a pillow. It's a comfort that we can actually rest and abide in this quality and then allow our control mechanisms to exhaust themselves. Control mechanisms don't exhaust themselves, because that's losing control. So we have to work with them. We have to put ourselves into situations where they exhaust themselves, like a zendo. Like a zazen posture. Yeah. Everything is trying to change that uncomfortable situation over and over and over again just doesn't work. Yeah, okay. And then there's a lot more to how we're going to actualize this in life. So, okay, those are some initial comments, appreciations of support for this practice. And this as a preface to our Ango about appreciating our life. So yeah, I'd like to encourage everybody to join Ango with intention. It's going to be good. Yeah, it's going to be good. It was really good last year. Actually, our theme last year was the Bardo, the transition. I think people really, it kind of rocked a lot of people's worlds. Yeah, I see some smiles. People enjoyed it. So this one's going to be really good too. Yeah. Thank you for your attention.